Running Fever episode 66. We're going to talk about, hey, get your kicks on episode 66. That's what I'm doing. Talking a little bit today about how much protein you need, supplements. I am at the same, I started at the Botanical Gardens here, Lake Fayetteville Trail, and it took me about 5 minutes to get here from my house. Probably going to be coming here more often just to save time. Feeling really good today. I've been working out pretty heavily the last couple of times in the gym, which would be yesterday and then 2 days before that. Well, yesterday was the first time I did it this week. That feels really good. I've got some soreness because I pushed myself a little bit harder yesterday, and I feel like I'm kind of stepping things up a little bit. I mean, I definitely feel like that. I'm adding a half mile to the run, walk, ramping up because I just started with the strength training. I'm not as afraid to use my arms as I was and do some upper body stuff. For one thing, I don't really think that it's damaging to me, even if it may sometimes be painful, because I don't think the pain is related to muscles. Now, tendons, it could be because I'm damaging my tendons, so I want to be careful about that. But until I go and see the neurosurgeon or orthopedic surgeon, whoever I'm going to see about my back, I will definitely ask there if it's okay to lift weights and do all the things that I'm doing. That is not what I've heard so far. My doctor said basically, if it's not hurting you, it's okay to do it. And I've not been feeling a lot of pain. And I'm trying to remember to take Advil and all this stuff. Got my hydration today, did not take the Advil. I've been taking more of it at home because I know I've got this back issue. So I know I'm mixing in medical and fitness reports, which is okay. I think you can figure it out, and maybe you don't even need to. So it's overall about health, so all of these things fit together. This side of the trail is shadier. It is in the 80s today, so relatively warm. So a little bit about information. There is a lot of information that is easily available, but information is not necessarily good or true, and you really have to sift through it to get some good information. I think I'm a pretty smart guy, so I can usually figure out, generally speaking, whether it's good stuff or garbage. But just a little disclaimer, when I talk about stuff on this type of episode where I'm just kind of walking along and talking to you about things that I've been looking into, I usually have consulted more than one source, but it's not information that I necessarily endorse completely. Now, I started doing a little thing called Fever Facts, and this is information that I have researched a little more deeply and will probably add in to the mix as short episodes that will be Monday specials, like some of them that you've already heard so far. Basically anything that's not me on the trail is going to be a Monday special anymore, because I have a lot more material. But just because it's, only some of those are going to be what I call fever facts, and I'll let you know. And a fever fact is something that it really takes quite a bit of effort, because this is a single fact, really. Probably no more than a 5-minute podcast. But I have spent probably an hour at least researching that material. And the reason is I don't feel comfortable giving you that information and saying it's true unless I've looked at some enough resources and what I consider to be credible resources that I feel you can never be 100% certain, right? Because even the experts don't really know, but I've consulted what I consider to be credible sources, and I endorse that information. But part of the learning process is really getting ideas. That's a lot of what I throw out as I'm looking through, and I've corrected myself as I'm learning. I'm passing that information on to you. For example, I talked about the cutting diet and thinking that, oh, that's just a fat loss diet. And not long ago, last episode, I kind of explained that sort of drinking water is part of that, matched up with the dehydration process that is the cut that bodybuilders do right before a competition or a photo shoot, or an actor does before he goes in to shoot that shirt off scene. And it's not something you really, not only not something you should do, you can't really do it on an ongoing, long-term, day-to-day basis. Wow, that sentence was right out of the Department of Redundancy department. So there's my disclaimer. Don't just take what you hear on this On the Trail episode as being something that I endorse and I know to be true. But it's interesting information. Like today, I'm starting to, I know about calories, and basically, if you want to lose weight, you take in fewer calories than you burn. And so the site that I spent a lot of time on today was Muscle for Life. And I've started listening to this podcast, and what he's saying makes a lot of sense. He called this underfeeding. Now, it doesn't matter what you eat. It only matters how much you take in terms of calories and how much you burn in terms of calories. Now, each person's metabolism is different. So how much you burn and how much you retain, all that's going to be variable. But just in general, that's it. Whether you want to eat 4 bowls of ice cream or 5 gallons of carrots, that's up to you. If all you care about is losing weight. So, that's just basically the rudimentary information that I used when I was first starting on the contest, the Biggest Loser contest. And it worked. I lost weight. If that's all you want to do, it'll work. Now, of course, your metabolism gets affected over time, such that you burn less calories and you're going to have to eat less. And so there's a diminishing returns, and that is it's not sustainable over any longer period of time. But for me, it worked at least for about 6 weeks. So now I'm at the point where I've been trying to get my metabolism, my burn rate higher, so I can take in more calories. Why do I want to take in more calories? Well, I want to get what I need, what my body needs to survive. And what I've been doing henceforth, or recently, is just adding on calories. And I honestly have not added them in a very judicious way. I've taken a little bit of the advice from my dietitian, but I've been eating ice cream and Captain Crunch and hamburgers and all of this stuff. Well, that's fine. It fits into the category of calories. But does it give me the nutrients I need? I don't really think so. And one of the things I learned about today is a sort of macro and micro nutrition. Protein, carbohydrates, calories. These are macro concepts. There are other things that you need. And I'm already starting to do some of that. That's just where I was. And I've made incremental progress by talking to medical professionals and my dietitian. So now I'm doing things like taking a multivitamin. Well, I decided to, for a while I've been thinking I need to track my protein, right? And so the question is, okay, it's easy enough to get a general number for protein, right? But is that too much or enough? How do I know what's enough? I mean, you can't know with any accuracy what your burn rate for calories is. So how many calories is enough? Well, you just kind of, I think, judge it by what's happening with your body. It's not an easy thing to do. It can be quantified, but it takes things like going to Complete Nutrition and get a body composition, or getting a DEXA scan, all very expensive things, or getting one of those machines for home, which I think it's good to do periodically, that kind of thing, but on a daily basis, you can't do all of that stuff. I mean, there are some inexpensive machines. I talked about a Weight Watcher scale that gave you some of that information through the bioelectrical impedance analysis, BIA. But if you pay $20 for a scale, how accurate is that? I don't know. Well, I looked at a couple of sites, and of course, in this regard, I do have my dietitian's recommendation. And I already know she wants me to eat more vegetables and fruits. I kind of like my diet right now, but I admit that it's probably not giving me the full nutrition that I need, and I do probably need more vegetables, the right kind of vegetables, which I really don't like to eat generally. But one of the things on my grocery list is a vegetable called broccoli. Of all the vegetables that I've seen, that one has the most nutrition per stomach ability. But online today, the estimates that I saw, and these are based on some studies, anywhere from 0.8 grams to 1 gram, or up to 1.2 grams if you are, basically lifting weights more than an hour a day. And as it turns out, that's about what I'm getting right now. There's a lot of protein in what I'm eating. The chili, for example, has over 40 grams of protein between the beans and the meat, both of which are fairly high in protein. So, beans, that's a high protein vegetable right there. Technically, it's a legume, which I don't know. It's not meat, so it's not fruit. More things I need to learn. What are the differences between these things? I always think of legumes as growing in the ground. Is a potato a legume? I don't think so. So I'm already getting 210 grams of protein a day. And I just took my typical meal plan for that, which is surprisingly the same on many days. And I've added another meal after my workout because I wanted to get some protein after the workout, and that's been either jerky or yogurt. Yogurt is pretty good. I thought it would be very high in protein, but 7 grams and 6 ounces, which is 80 calories. About the same as you get in 1 ounce of jerky, which is the same amount of calories. One of the things that happens when you get to this point, believe it or not, well, I already talked about adding calories, but how much you have to eat to get the calories that you need. So I need to figure out calories, carbohydrates. Carbohydrates is the next thing, but protein, something I'm gonna kind of track. I think I'm gonna go for 1 gram per pound of weight, which as of this morning, I believe was 214. Is that 2 pounds over my base weight? Yeah. Not really concerned about it though. So I can already notice my muscles are bigger, and you may think, well, you've been working out a week in the gym, right? How can that be true? Mr. Running a Fever Man, you must be joshing us. No, I mean, I can tell. You can tell by looking, right? But I don't necessarily think that it's due to increased muscle mass. When you start using part of your body, it needs things. We talked about muscles breaking down. They need fuel to rebuild. There are waste products that's what causes that soreness that you feel. They need to be removed. So you need lots of water and blood and stuff in there. And I believe that's what causes a swelling of the muscles. But I do expect my body to change, and I hope to keep my weight the same for a couple of months while losing fat and gaining muscle. And I think it's pretty easy to see in the mirror, but I also want to periodically do a body composition analysis. Now, there's a general number, and that may be what my dietitian gave me, and it's nowhere near 210 grams per day. More like, I think, 56 on average, but that's the thing. An average person, there's no such thing as an average person. So 2 miles in would put me at 5.8. If there was such a thing as a 5.8, I'm entering Veterans Park right now. So once again, I'm trying to estimate. My watch would give me that information if I could see it. One thing, it's bright out here. For another thing, I don't have my glasses, so I'm just gonna have to guess. 28 minutes. But I know we're past 5.3, which is a mile and a half, so I'm gonna go ahead and walk through Veterans Park here. A lot more shade on this part of the course than the one that I took 2 days ago, the last episode. Actually, first time I've done the 4-mile thing using this part of the trail. I'm gonna have to do some math, but the 0.5 is where I usually start here at the marina, so it's only gonna be 0.3 of a mile from there, not quite to the 0.25, which I know where that is. And actually, if that 5.3 is the end of the trail, then I do actually need to go all the way to the 0.5. I think a good indication may be the time of my workout, which is currently 32:56. When it gets to 40, I've probably gone 2 miles. Hopefully a little bit more. Howdy. So yeah, first time across that bridge from the other direction. I snapped a little picture of it coming from the other direction. I think that's the Copper Creek Bridge or something like that. Can't remember. Keep the fever, and I will talk to you next time.
This is the Paddle Up Podcast Network. PaddleUpMedia.com.